My parents disowned me at my sister's rehearsal dinner in front of everyone we knew. Mom told the crowd I destroyed Jane's future. I asked one question and every head turned to stare at her instead. I was 17 when the accident happened. Jane was 19. She was driving. I was in the passenger seat. A truck ran a red light and hit us on the driver's side. Jane broke her back in 2 places. I broke my arm and got a concussion. Jane spent 4 months in a hospital and another 8 in rehab learning to walk again. She recovered mostly. She walks with a slight limp now. But my parents decided that night that the accident was my fault because I had asked Jane to pick me up from a friend's house. If I hadn't called, she wouldn't have been on that road. That was their logic. That was their verdict. No trial, no defense, just guilty forever. From that point forward, I was the daughter who ruined things. Jane got their attention, their money, their love. I got silence. When Jane got into college, they threw a party. When I got into college, Dad said, "Hope you can pay for it yourself." And I did. I worked 2 jobs through school, graduated with honors, got into nursing, built a life with 0 help from anyone in that house. Jane, meanwhile, got everything handed to her. Tuition paid, apartment furnished, car replaced twice. Every holiday, Mom would find a way to bring it up. Pass the potatoes to the girl who cost us $200,000 in medical bills. Or she'd look at Jane's limp and then look at me like I should apologize all over again. Jane never once corrected them. Never once said, it wasn't her fault, I was the one driving. She just let them blame me year after year because it meant she stayed the favorite and I stayed the problem. 7 years went by. I kept showing up to holidays, birthdays, family dinners. I don't know why. Maybe I kept hoping someone would finally say it out loud. That the truck ran the red, that Jane was behind the wheel, that blaming a 17-year-old passenger for existing in the car was insane. Nobody ever did. Then Jane got engaged to a guy named Tyler. Nice enough, came from money, very concerned with appearances. The rehearsal dinner was at a country club. 70 people. I almost didn't go. My coworker Dana told me not to. They don't deserve you. There. But Jane had actually called me herself. I want you there, please. So I went. I wore a simple dress, sat at a table near the back, and kept to myself. Everything was fine until the toasts. Dad went first. He talked about how proud he was of Jane, how she overcame so much after her accident. Mom went next. She started sweet. Then her voice changed. Some of you know that Jane almost lost everything because of a car accident caused by someone in this room. She looked directly at me. My daughter Jane nearly died because her sister couldn't be bothered to find her own ride home. She destroyed Jane's future, her body, her confidence. And for 7 years, she's never once apologized. The room went dead silent. 70 people staring at me. Mom kept going. So tonight, in front of everyone who matters to us, I want to say what we should have said years ago. You are no longer part of this family. You're dead to us. Dad nodded. Jane looked at her plate. Tyler looked confused. I sat there for a long 5 seconds. Then I stood up. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I looked at my mother and said one thing. Mom, who was driving the car? The silence changed. It went from pity for Jane's silence to something heavier. Mom blinked. What? The night of the accident. Who was driving? Mom didn't answer. I looked at Jane. Tell them, Jane. Who was behind the wheel when that truck hit us? Jane's face went white. Tyler leaned over and whispered something to her. She didn't move. Dad stood up. That's enough. It's a simple question, Dad. You just told 70 people I destroyed Jane's life. So who was driving? Someone at the back table said quietly, I thought Jane was driving. That cracked it open. Another voice. Wait, she was the passenger? Mom grabbed the microphone back. This is exactly what she does. She twists everything to make herself the victim. I pulled out my phone. Not to record, not to post anything. I opened the police report I'd kept saved for 7 years and handed it to Tyler, since he was closest. He read it out loud without anyone asking him to. Driver, Jane Weller. Passenger, Brooke Weller. Then he set the phone down and looked at Jane like he was seeing her for the first time. I picked up my bag. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't make our speech. I just walked through 70 people who now understood that my family had spent 7 years punishing me for sitting in the wrong seat. Tyler called off the wedding 3 weeks later. Not because of the accident, because Jane had lied to him about it for their entire relationship. Told him I was driving. Told him I'd never taken responsibility. He couldn't figure out what else she'd made up. His mother apparently told Jane, if you lied about something this big, what else have you been hiding? Jane had no answer. 7 years they blamed the passenger. All I did was ask who was driving.